everyone, welcome to or welcome back to Noras Cove. If you're new here, I am Yoshida, and here at the Cove, we like to budget and plan in confidence using a planner. Today, you guys, it's time. It's snowy outside, it's Sunday, and it's time to do our budget for the week. So, let's get into it. We're going to go over last week a little bit. This is last week. So, let me zoom in just a little bit. Now, I have these page flags here. They are reminders of things that I needed to do. So I've kind of taken care of everything, I believe. And we're going to get those out the way. Okay, let's get into the recap of last week. Last week, I put down, because you remember, I think I came back and showed you guys where I had messed up. So we had put down $658. And remember, I kept saying, I think it was an extra $20, but I think I put that into my little savings. So anyway, we had $638 in rollover. And then we had guesstimated, because if you're new here, I'm self-employed, so we guesstimate our income, like what it's looking like. And I kind of want to start going back on the lower end because it is like winter, it's January, all that great stuff. But we were having some great weeks. So I guesstimated $1,200. We ended up making $965. In nails, I guesstimated $100. I made $105. So we was kind of on track there because I've slowed down my nail business. And I'm doing about 2-3 clients, so it just depends, and also depends on what they're getting done. And then in Noras Cove, which is Noras Cove, my online stationery business, we said 84, which we kind of did that, but what I did was I just didn't take out that loan. I didn't write it into my expenses. I just let that be what it was, and I just paid myself $70 from that. So instead of $2,042, our income ended up being $1,778. So, okay, I'm trying not to make this long. So every day, without fail, I write down my spending, what I'm spending it on. I have my categories here, and I'm going to show you a new insert that I created. So I've just been highlighting with the categories, and my categories are listed here, the color coding for it. So at the end of the week, it's really easy to come back and say, hey, I saved, this is what all I spent on savings. This is what I spent on miscellaneous, which is pretty much me. This is what I spent in grocery. This is what bills I paid that's in green. What else? Yeah. Oh, salon. So what I'm also thinking about doing, I'm getting a little sidetracked. Y'all know I got a little touch of ADHD. But what I'm thinking about doing is combining hair and nails, because sometimes I don't want to separate the two, because it at the end of the week, it looked like I made over $1,000 in, hair, but that's neither here nor there. So back to this. Sorry about that. But at the end of the week, I totaled everything up. So I've been using these faithfully. I do have some more listed in the shop. So what I decided to do this week was add the dates, because it's easier for me to come over here and look at the dates. Each day, I add up how much I spent, and then over here, I drew a line, just a little line, to separate how much I'm making. Like, I use these sticky notes to my potential. That way, I can see how much over I'm spending in what I'm actually making. Just for me, I don't know, it just makes sense. Now, today is Sunday, which to me ends my week, but it's snowing outside. I'm not doing the online shopping. I can't afford it. So we didn't make anything today because we didn't work, and we're not spending anything. So I figured let's go ahead and close out this budget. So I'm thinking of switching to Monday. So sometimes you may get a Monday budget review or budget, but today we know we're not spending anything else, so we're done. So I've already added up everything. So let's go over this real quickly. Monday, I spent $581.15. Tuesday, I spent $311.72. Wednesday, I spent $67.42. As you see, that day I made nothing. And then Thursday, I spent $63.25. Friday, I spent $55.09. And then, Saturday, I spent $404.30, and that is because of booth rent. And I made $350. So let's do the total. When I did the total, shoot, I took a screenshot of it, but let's just total it up. So let's calculate it. Let's go wait to double check. So it says $1,482.93. That should be my total of all of these right here. All my expenses. So I'm going to go back and just quickly re-reference that to make sure that is correct. And I do believe that it is, but let's go back. $1,482.93. So at the end of the week, here at the bottom of this insert, you'll take your total income, you'll minus your total bills, your total expenses, your total envelopes, your total savings, and then this is what you have rolled over. I've already done the math, and I'm up by like $13. I don't know. The only thing I can think of is I threw some money in my savings and I didn't account for it, or I couldn't have because I'm up. I don't know. We'll see. Let's just do the math. Let's go over it. Focus your sheet. Okay, and then also what I like to do is take this spending tracker and put it in here. So let's go over the total. So we end up making $1,778. Our bills totaled out to $503.77. What happened was, because when my daughter got off of my T-Mobile bill, I had Netflix included. Well, T-Mobile said, well, you're going to lose Netflix. So Netflix sent me a thing, said, hey, your account is froze until you pay this. And I'm like freaking out. Like, not that I use Netflix that much, but I do use it at work sometimes. And so I kept trying to pay it, and then it wouldn't let me go through. And something in my mind was like, well, Yoshida, don't pay. But when I looked, it said my bill will be due February 23rd. I'm like, okay, cool, I can wait. But then I just kept fooling around with it, and I ended up paying $24.99. And then I sent my credit card $3.78 just to make an even number, I know, in my bank account. And then we were supposed to give Allie half, but we gave them $175. We're going to discuss this in a minute. We'll discuss that on the next week. And then booth rent was $300. Acuity, I looked, it's not due to the 3rd, so that's why we marked that out. T-Mobile, I was going to pay this on time, but something kept telling me it's going to snow, clients cancel, so let's wait a little bit. So I kept waiting, and I didn't want them to cut my phone off, which they really wouldn't, but I just made a payment arrangement to pay like half and half. So we'll get back on track with that. We'll go into all of that later. So all my bills totaled up to $503.77. Of course, my suite rent. All right, so we had $1,274.23 left, and then breaks. That was an expense. Now this right here, I wish I had my red pen, threw me off. Like, oh, let me see if I can find a red pen. All right, let's click red, because this threw my whole budget off. Like, I would have been so caught up, but we needed breaks. Okay, we needed breaks. It is what it is. So I took gas off of there. Now, I did get gas, but I put that on my credit card. We're going to pay that off, and that's not part of the budget. Anyway, but I had gas that come out from last week, so that was $25. Back up to here. So after breaks coming from what's left over, we had $713.80. So that ended up being $560.43. And so with $713.80 left, I took off. I still haven't, I'm gonna just be paying girls trip next week out, right out 100. My sister, I still haven't gotten on train with putting her money aside for her bridal shower and wedding. My anniversary got nothing. Savings, I moved that down to the savings. Grocery and food, we spent more, here's the red again, I haven't been only spending like $60 in grocery a week, and I've been eating at home. And did I add up what I spent? Yeah, yesterday. So we spent more because it's snowing, and just kept going to the grocery store. I don't even want to talk about it. But anyway, we spent $158.71. And also, I finally ate out at Chipotle yesterday. I deserved it, and that is that. But that's my first time of the week. So I'm going to be putting a little, like $20 a week away for me to eat out. Miscellaneous, we spent $195.45. We need to like look at what I'm spending in miscellaneous and bring that back in. And then gas, I spent $25, and that was rolled over from the week before when I had my husband's truck, and I put $25 worth of gas in. So the total ended up being $379.16, and then rollover leftovers $338.64. I'm gonna show y'all about this savings. So I do a cash savings. It's in my expense tracker. spending tracker, and I put $45 away this week into my cash savings. And so subtract the 45 from the 338, we have 293.64. That's this number here. That's rolled over, but in my bank account I have like $303. So that leads us to this week. Let's get into it. Y'all, also I'm using some thinner paper, which is 28-pound paper, and I'll be honest with you, I'm using all kinds of paper, honestly. Just paper left over, so I don't have to buy paper. But I actually like 28-pound. It's a little thinner, but I like the texture on it. So anyway, roll over. We're going to put $303. We'll double check this next week. So this week for hair, we're going to put just $1,000. For nails, I'm going to still separate it for now because I like to see how nails can pay like my sweet rent or something like that. We're going to do 100. I think we're going to make a little more over 100. I really want to say 200. I'll just leave it at 100. NoCo. I'm not going to put anything right now. I think we do have something coming in, but it's not a lot. So we'll just leave it at that. So right now we have $1,403. Let me double check because sometimes my math don't be mathing. Yes, 1403. Now, let's look at what bills we have due this week. Oh, and then there's another thing that happened. I got an alert from GoDaddy that I had my yearly fee coming out, and I pay it for 2 years. And I was looking for it last year, and I was like, where is the yearly fee? Well, it's due this year, so we got to write that down. That's the first thing on the budget for this week. And yeah, so we have GoDaddy annual. Well, we have GoDaddy due twice this week. Some of this stuff. So on the 26th, GoDaddy, and that's going to be $43.98. Then we have Ally, 27th. Ally, we're going to owe them with the fee of paying on the phone is $754. Here's the blessing in that I have the $375 that I have been putting aside into my Ally account, checking account. But when I looked and tried to make a transfer for like yesterday, it wasn't going to get there till after the 27th. I said I could have called them to stretch it to the 28th, but I didn't want to take any chances, so I'm just going to pay half and half. Anyway, $754. And then also on the 27th, we have GoDaddy again, and that is like $11.65. And then we have State Farm. They're not getting paid. I don't even know I wrote this down, but they may. And it's like, I just put 600, but it's like 553, 558. And then I have my girls trip. That's gonna go over here. That's $100. And then I have where I'm gonna do T-Mobile, but we're not doing T-Mobile. So I can't, that's why I didn't want to go too far up with this little color coding situation, because it just depended, and I knew I needed breaks, so I'm glad I didn't go too far. And then, let's see, State Farm, those are the only bills that I know. Oh, Sweet Rent, and that's $300. So already we are above. We are above. So let's just do a quick little math, and also I need to come back and put down what we made. Okay, so I have $1,109.63. I took off State Farm. Took it off. It's off. Because we'll probably roll that into next week, and we're going to probably try to do, I should do the 300s. Well, let's just take it off for right now. So all that totals to be $1,109.63. Okay. And then remaining from the 1403. Now, we could as well have a great $1,200 week, but we don't want to chance it. So we have $293.37 left. $293.37. That's what's left. We're going to roll it over to expenses. I need to get products this week. $293.37. And I'm going to put products down. Jesus Christ. I didn't get my total from my guy, but I've been kind of guesstimating. I really think I'm going to be at about $180, if not more. But we're going to stick 180, subtract, go 293.37, 293.7, subtract 180. That leaves him with $13.37. $13.37. And then we subtract girls trip. That leaves us with $13.37. And we're gonna move savings, because I'm gonna put into my cash savings. So I'm averaging about $45 a week, $40 a week, but I'm gonna show y'all that in a second. So let's just we're gonna deposit $13 into our cash savings, and that really, let's just put $13.37, and remaining $0. So we've zero-based our budget. And again, if you're new here, I'm self-employed, so these numbers could change. Only number that's not gonna change is the rollover. And the only way that rollover number changes if I spend money today. But to my knowledge, we're not spending the money. And this is the week of the 26th through the 1st. Yeah. Wow. We in February already. What Lord. So if you want to see how this week turns out, come back next week for more. And I'm just going to pop that in. And so far, this is working for me. And going forward, like I said, the color coding situation is a great idea. I still want to do it, but we got to get caught up. Right now, no, I'm not paying any debt. Let me break down what I'm doing. And I've been thinking about this. I'm not paying any debt right now. If I owe somebody, they call me, good luck to them. Only people I'm paying is my car insurance, my 3 major things. Like I said, a lot of people, you got to pay your 4 walls. For me, it is my car note, car insurance, and cell phone bill, because and suite rent, because I need these things to run businesses and all that great stuff. All the businesses that I have, I need those 4 things, okay? So that's all I'm worried about, besides my 1 credit card, which is maybe Federal, and I just paid the minimum on that just to keep it, and that's all. That's all. The only other debt, I think that's all the debt that I'm paying right now. But we're just worried about that. Once I get my emergency fund together, then I'll start to pay debt. But right now, I got to get an emergency fund, and that's what I'm doing. So this is next week. We can't wait to see how this goes. So let me show you guys. I brought something, a couple of things. So I've been talking about my cash savings. This was like a money bag that we had. It's been at work, y'all, in my drawer, my nail drawer. So it's got a little color on it. But this was a bank bag we had in one of our budget boxes. I keep it at work. Y'all, look at that. I have not really counted the full thing. I know I got change in here and everything, okay? That's why I said, look, I got a mint. Let's put that back in there. Let's count it. 10, 20, 30, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait a minute. What did I say? 105. Let's start over. Sorry. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 10. This is 40. Yoshida, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 105. Let's put that down on the calculator. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Oh, and I actually have another $1 upstairs in my purse. I'll add that later. So we're at like $128. I really didn't want to count it. I didn't want to know how much I had here. But for some reason, I leave it at work. It does not leave. That way I can make change for my customers, things like that. But something just told me to bring it home. I don't know. I said, I don't know if the building gonna catch on fire or whatever, but something told me just to bring this home. So I just brought it home. And I'm deciding if I'm going to leave it at home and just every day bring the change. But, you know, when that loose change is in your purse, you find something you can spend it on. So I think she'll go back to work. I thought about waiting to the end of the month and then dispute her into cash envelopes. I wanted to start back doing cash envelopes. Like, this will pay for my girls' trip. You know, I just want to keep stashing. And that's what I've been doing. So let's say a customer pays me in cash, and let's say they give me $65. I take the $5, I stuff it in here. At the end of the day, all I got is a 10 extra. Let's say I end up at the end of the day with $330. So all 100s, a 20 and a 10, I'll put a 10 in here. So that's how the 10s have been getting in here. Okay, next up, real quick. This was another thing that was in one of our budget boxes. So I'm like, I need to use these because nobody's purchasing them. So I was thinking about making this my December fund. And here you'll put the amount of, you'll put the amount of each little thing here, the total and the goal date is front and back. So I thought about maybe having one side Christmas, one side December fund. And then like home savings, I was like, what can I take this into? Because I don't know, I do want to do like some things around the house, but I'm just not ready to go into that right now. And then vacay savings would be my girls' trip and my sister's wedding. So what I could do is break down these into different like 10s and 20s and stuff like that. So I'm thinking about using these little savings challenges. And for some reason, I thought it was another one with this, but it may not be. But, y'all, that is it for my weekly budget and, like, little check-in and updating you guys on what I'm doing. And that is all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If today was your first time watching any of my videos and you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, leave me a message in the comment section letting me know that you're new so that we can welcome you to the Cove. Also, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.